Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope everyone is fine. So let's start. So where are we? Okay. Hmm. Jump ahead if you would like. If you want to get straight to the tip on how best to learn, jump now to the now you try section at the end of this chapter. But if you would like to learn more about Bob's past and how she changed her brain to learn better, keep reading. You will get to go with her to the South Pole in Antarctica. Later, you will have a chance to hear Terry's and Al's story. You will see how different we all are. Okay, so this is, actually, we will get to know about their backgrounds, these three authors. Okay, so how I changed my brain. When I was young, I loved animals and handcrafts, but not numbers. I hated them. For example, I was confused by old-fashioned clocks. Why was the hour hand smaller than the minute hand? Weren't hours more important than minutes? So why wasn't the hour hand the biggest? Why were clocks so confusing? So she was thinking, Barbara. Okay, me at age 10 with Earl the lamb. I loved critters, reading, and dreaming. Maths and science weren't on my playlist. Okay, so technology was not my friend either. I couldn't figure out all the buttons on the TV. This was in the days before remote controls. Uh, this meant I only watched TV shown when my brother or sister handled the technical side of things. So I didn't feel too good about my chances in subjects like math and science. Some bad luck at home made things worse. When I was 13, my father lost his job because of a back injury, and we had to move. In fact, I moved a lot while I was growing up. By the time I was 15 years old, I had lived in 10 different places. Each time I started a new school, I had missed a different piece of math. I felt lost. I was like picking up a book and discovering that the chapters were all out of order. It made no sense to me. I lost all interest in math. I almost took pride in being terrible at it. It was just who I was. I thought of numbers and equations as deadly diseases to be avoided at all costs. I didn't like science either. In my first chemistry experiment, my teacher gave me partner and me a different substance from the rest of the classes. He made fun of us when we tried to make our results match everyone else's. Luckily, I was better at other subjects. I liked history, social studies, and anything cultural. My grades in these classes helped me to graduate from high school. Since I didn't go along with numbers, I decided to learn a foreign language. I had grown up around people who spoke only English. It seemed so exotic to be able to speak two languages. But I couldn't afford to go to college. What could I do? I found out that the military would pay me to learn a new language. So right out of high school, I joined an army. I joined the army to learn Russian. Why Russian? No particular reason. I just looked. It just looked interesting. I studied at the Defense Language Institute in California. They knew the best technique for the teaching a language. Learning a new language didn't come easily for me. I didn't have a good memory, so I had to practice a lot. But gradually, I got better. I ended up doing well enough that I earned a scholarship for free money for school to go to a regular full scale university. There, I continued to study Russian. I was so excited. I had followed my passion for learning a new language and it was paying off for me. Except disaster strikes. The military made me an officer in a group called the Signal Corps. This meant I would be working with my old enemy technology, radios, cables, and telephones. I went from being a language expert to feeling like I was back in my high school chemistry class. I was lost. Then I was sent to Germany to manage a group of 50 soldiers specializing in communications, more technology. I turned out to be terrible at my job. If I couldn't set up the communications gear, how could I tell the soldiers how to do it? The officers working around me with their own groups were very successful. They were engineers, so they were comfortable with technology, math, and science. At 26, I left the military, Few people wanted to hire me. My language skills were great, but I didn't have any other skills that would help me get a job. I realized that by only following my passion, I didn't have many choices. Language and culture will always be important, but today science, math, and technology are also important. I wanted some of the exciting new opportunities these areas offered, but I had have to retrain my brain to learn math and science to have a chance. Was that even possible for someone like me? I decided to try. Rebuilding my career. I headed back to university to study engineering. I started at the lowest possible level of math algebra for people who had failed it in high school. At first, I felt like I was blindfolded. Other students found solutions to problems easily when I didn't. During this first months, I wondered if I had made the right decision. If only I had known then what I know now, it would have been so much easier. Of course, that is what this book is about. We want to share the best mental learning tools so you don't struggle like I did. After a few years of college, my career chances improved. I still used my language skills. For example, I worked as a translator on a Russian fishing boat, but I also began to use my new technical skills. I even ended up working as a radio operator at the South Pole station. See, my husband Phil Oakley in Antarctica after 10 minutes outside at 70 Fahrenheit, he's my hero. Okay, by the way, South Pole Station is where I met my husband, Phil. Here, he is after just 10 minutes at minus 70 degrees in a wind. I had to go to the end of the earth to meet that man. If I hadn't learned how to learn math and science, I never would have met him. We have now been married for nearly 35 years. You will meet one of our children later. Eventually, I graduated with a new degree in electrical engineering. After working for 4 years as an engineer, I went back to school to get master's degree in electrical and computer engineering. Then, with several more years of study, I got a degree called doctorate in systems engineering. That's why people sometimes call me Dr. Oakley, but I still prefer Barb. I became an expert at complex mathematical equations and scientific concepts. All this from the girl who couldn't work the TV. I had rewired my brain so that I could overcome my weaknesses. As a professor, I am now really interested in how people learn. That's how I got to know my co author, Terry Sanjowski. We talked a lot with each other about how people learn. And that's how I got to meet our other co author, Alistair McConville. 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 Okay. He has learned how to learn in an unusual way. We went to share lessons about how your brain learns best. That these techniques are simple. A lot of talented adults have told us that they wish they had had these easy to understand tools when they were younger. It would have made their learning so much easier. It would have even changed their direction of their learning. They didn't realize the power they had within them. You have a special gift for learning. When you unleash it while you are still young, you will enjoy its effects throughout your life. It's easy to believe that you should only concentrate on subjects that come easily for you. But my story reveals that you can do well in subjects you don't even like. The truth is, it's okay to follow your passion, but I also found that broadening my passion opened my many wonderful opportunities. Learning new subjects I didn't think I could do turned out to be an adventure. People find it hard to believe they can be successful learners if they have trouble with a subject. But neuroscience, that's a brain science, shows that they are wrong. Your brain is like an incredible toolkit. Your job is to learn when and how to use those tools. After all, you wouldn't use a hammer to turn a screw, right? Anyway, that's enough about me and why Terry, Al, and I have written this book. In the next chapter, I'll show you what's happening when when your learning becomes frustrating. This is a simple trick to make your learning easier and happier. Okay, so this is I think okay. That's enough for today, inshallah. We will continue it tomorrow, inshallah. And thank you very much for joining me. And jazakallah khairah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.